Snooping on your spouse, is it right or wrong? Hi friends, welcome to Marriage Realities, a comprehensive relationship channel. Today's video is all about the reasons why you snoop on your spouse and its negative impact in your relationship. What does snooping actually mean? It means prying on someone, having doubts and suspicion in your mind. No one likes to be snooped upon. You do not like your spouse to snoop on you. Your spouse also dislikes it when you snoop on him or her. Then, how does snooping happen in your relationship in spite of both disliking it? When trust bids goodbye from your relationship, you indulge in snooping on each other. So, snooping is the byproduct of distrust that creeps into your relationship. When you trust your spouse, you do not feel suspicious about him or her. Trusting your spouse shows how much your marriage is free from needless suspicion. When your relationship is free from needless suspicion, you enjoy being married to your spouse. But when you're suspicious about your spouse, you have all sort of doubts about his or her loyalty towards you. When your doubts get more and more embedded in your mind, you start to snoop on your spouse to clarify your misgivings about him or her. You do not indulge in snooping on your spouse all of a sudden. Certain behaviors of your spouse kindle many suspicious doubts about him or her in you. Your spouse suddenly acts too private and secretive towards you. Your spouse changes passwords of his or her social media accounts. Messages are deleted from the mobile of your spouse. Your spouse spends too much time away from you, which is quite unusual to you. All these secretive behaviors of your spouse make you feel quite apprehensive that he or she might be hiding something from you. When your spouse has a new friend from the opposite sex with whom he or she spends hours talking in the mobile, you become suspicious. When your spouse keeps his or her voice low and secretive while talking, you feel doubting alarm bells ringing in you. You feel that when your spouse is being too secretive towards you, it is a sure sign that he or she is having a relationship out of wedlock. When your doubts that your spouse might be cheating you takes root, you want to confirm it at any cost. So, you inquire about your spouse with his or her friends or colleagues, making your suspicion about him or her open to everyone. By snooping on your spouse, you make your personal life a hot topic to be gossiped by everyone. It is sad that you do not realize that you are letting others discuss your personal life by openly snooping on your spouse. When you become suspicious about your spouse, you begin to act like a spy. You check the emails and messages of your spouse with the sole intention of catching him or her red-handed. You also check the bank account of your spouse to clarify a doubt about whether he or she is spending money on someone. When your spouse goes out, you start inquiring about his or her whereabouts with his or her friends. In extreme cases, you hire a detective to spy on your spouse. When you spy the mobile phone or emails of your spouse, it clearly shows how much trust is missing in your relationship. Snooping on your spouse seems justified to you as your mind wants relief from the doubts and apprehensions you have about him or her. You make yourself sick with misery because you have many misleading information about your spouse. But when you want your doubts to be clarified by others, you'll often be misled by the wrong information they give you. When you believe the biased evidence about your spouse given by others, it might be difficult to retrieve your marriage. Snooping on your spouse does not in any way give you the true picture of what is happening unless you clarify your doubts directly with him or her. There are times you snoop on your spouse to find out whether he or she has more money than he or she confesses about. You want to know the real income of your spouse as he or she does not openly talk about it. So you secretively verify the passbook of your spouse, sneak into his or her online account and do unnecessary mathematics regarding his or her income. One word of caution before indulging on snooping on your spouse. Unless your misgivings about your spouse are authentic and real, do not ever confront him or her about it. Snooping on your spouse is not the way to clarify your doubts about him or her. Instead of snooping on your spouse, you can directly ask him or her about your doubts. Your spouse will definitely feel furious when you confront him or her about your niggling doubts about him or her. It is because when you begin your inquiry, your spouse instantly realizes that you have been snooping on him or her behind his or her back. Your spouse will feel furiously angry if your accusations are wrong. On the contrary, your spouse will go on his or her defensive if you are right. You should not ever try to clarify your doubts with your spouse when your emotions are all heated up and keyed up, as your words will spit out your venomous anger. Indulging in spying and snooping on your spouse is an extremely ominous signal that your marriage has lost its trust. A marriage without trust cannot survive. Trusting your spouse is an absolute must to enjoy a marriage without feeling apprehensive about his or her loyalty towards you. The root cause of your suspicion is total lack of openness and transparency in your relationship. When your relationship with your spouse is open and friendly, both will discuss just about everything happening between you. When your relationship with your spouse is open and frank, there will be no secrecy between you. When there's no secrecy in your relationship, everything about your spouse is like an open book to you. Everything about you is an open book to your spouse. When such open friendliness exists between you, you interact with your spouse about your doubts and misgivings about him or her without making your relationship strained and tensed. Snooping and spying might make a movie or a story interesting, but it is not suited to your relationship because mystery and snooping make your married life struggle to find its foothold. So build your marriage on mutual trust. Did this video make you understand how your relationship could be destroyed if you engage in snooping on your spouse? Marriage Realities will have many such relationship eye-openers. Subscribe to my channel to understand your marriage in a new light. Press the bell icon for updates about my latest relationship videos. Make love forever and to death do us part your relationship goal.